Hey everybody, this is Craig from 9 Volt Games, and today I'm going to be doing something that I don't ever do, and that is a movie review. Silent Hill HD. I mean, fuck. It's like the fourth time I fucked this up. Silent Hill Revelations 3D was a terrible, terrible movie. Now, I don't want people getting upset and being like, you're just bashing the movie because it's a video game movie. You're just bashing the movie because maybe you're a Resident Evil fan. Because I realize that some people on here, or some people that might watch this video, don't watch my channels. They don't understand how big of a Silent Hill fan I am. Here's my Silent Hill credibility. I am a huge Silent Hill fan. I also have the movie in Blu-ray and DVD. If you really want, I'll go get that for you and show you too. That, if anything, should show that I'm super critical of Silent Hill movies or anything that comes out, really. And I just want people to know that I actually did enjoy the first film. Now, I do have to defend it a lot because I know a lot of people will comment and be like, first film was garbage. I think the first film was good because we, as gamers, need to come to a realization, and the same thing, in the same vein, I guess, Hollywood needs to come to a realization that game movies will never be the actual game experience that we had. We need to realize that as like a group. And then Hollywood needs to realize that what gamers want to see when it comes to video game movies is that we want to see the exact experience that we played. And I think they assume that we don't want to see that because we already know how it's going to end. So what fun is that? That is all the fun. That is what we want. I want to watch Silent Hill where Harry is going through the town looking for his daughter Cheryl. Not where Rose is going through a town looking for her daughter Sharon. And then fighting people in a fucking church. That shit doesn't happen in Silent Hill. I'm sorry, it doesn't happen. The only time they really brought the order in and deal out justice was, what? To fucking Homecoming? Origins? When America took over. How's that? But, I digress. The first movie was good for what it was. I think it's because I went in there, like, really being like, you know what, this shit's gonna be very disappointing. And it was not. It was a well-directed, a well-acted movie. I mean, it was a good theater experience. So I assume the same with Revelations. I said, you know what? I know it's supposed to be based off of 3, or loosely. And it was based off of 3 loosely. And I use that term loosely, very loosely. And I use that term loosely, very loosely, for loosely. And it was so terribly based off of it. And now at the end I'll do a couple spoilers because I want to say some comparatives to the actual game. So right now it will be 100% spoiler free. The end was disappointing. The writing was disappointing. The acting was very disappointing because they had some good actors and they didn't deliver on their part. Malcolm McDowell did a good job. But that also ties into the game, so I'll save that for later. Malcolm McDowell did a good job. Sean Bean did not do a good job. His accent broke through a few times. Carrie-Anne Moss looked very awkward. And I really liked her as Trinity. Like, I loved her as Trinity. So every time I looked at her, I wanted to be like, Trinity. Trinity. But, every time I looked at her, I was like, you look fucking awkward. Why are you so pasty? And why are you wearing a powdered wig? You're not an old American president. That brings me to another thing that bothered me. And it's not that I'm like a nationalist or anything like that. I'm not prejudiced against any type of people, but I do want to say this. Why is it when Hollywood has a movie that has to do with Middle Eastern country, here's one. How come when they made Prince of Persia, they had no problem casting a white man to play Prince of Persia? Or when they're casting, let's say, Mandarin, and they're going to use Ben Kingsley. However, when they have a movie that takes place in America, in West Virginia no less, they have all European people. Beats the fuck out of me. I don't understand that one bit. But besides Hollywood whitewashing it, what they did is they took this is a hard analogy because I don't want to lose people right here. But it's like they took the setup that they had from Silent Hill. They left a really good setup for Silent Hill 3 to start and then work its way into what we already knew as gamers, what we know as the story of Silent Hill 3. And then they have to condense it down, which I fully understand. They have to take that 4 to 8 hour experience and condense it down into, less than 2 hours, essentially. What they did is they took this amazing setup, and then they took their botched story, and they just raped it. That's the best I have. I'm sorry. It here's the best description. I told someone on Twitter. It's like if you were to take like a fan fiction about Silent Hill, and someone took everything that they liked about one particular game, and then they stuffed it together, but it was written by like a 10-year-old, so their imagination was just going all different ways, and they just added things, and they're like, you know what, forget it. It wasn't a worm, and it wasn't a worm in the bottom of the mall. It was a worm, but his face was actually a mannequin, and then that mannequin's face had hands that came out and then had other mannequins' faces on it. Yes, that's in the movie. Like, that, it was that type of shit. So it took, like, what you knew, like, you'd be in a familiar situation in the movie from the game, and then you'd be like, alright, great. Hey, I was with my friend Matt. Hey, I can't wait to see this shit. Watch it go down. Then nope. It did not go down the way you expected it. But the thing is that the twists on it were just so corny that it kind of destroyed everything. And on top of that, the exchanges between the characters at the time were just so, like, off-putting. Some of the acting was terrible, especially from Sean Bean. It's just really surprising to me. Like, what? Like, when, I don't want to explain the scene because it'll ruin things, but he sees Heather and he's, like, screaming for her in anguish, and he's like, you don't hurt her! Like, he literally did that, and that was terrible. Like, that was the tone of the movie. The whole movie felt like it was a B-style movie that somehow made it, like, to big budget status, and I don't know. I don't understand it. The story was horribly written. And, oh yes, this is one point I really want to drive in there, is that with a story like this, a lot of people in my community, this is for outside people right now, a lot of people in my community really appreciate the Silent Hill series. And people who are longtime fans of Silent Hill are pretty intellectual people, because a lot of Silent Hill is left up to player interpretation. Now, I also know this from people who've dropped off in Silent Hill, and it's like, those games are terrible, you're a piece of shit for liking them. There's too many doors. That's what I like. That's always my favorite one. There's too many doors in Silent Hill. There's too many locked doors. It's stupid. That's a stupid game. For one, that's a retarded reason for liking a game. I'm sorry. I know I don't like using that word. I say I don't like using it. I don't. But that's retarded, for one. If you don't like a game because of locked doors. Two, you shouldn't be asking, because it's Silent Hill, you shouldn't be asking why there's so many locked doors. You should be asking, who are those locked doors for? But people don't do that. People don't think that much ahead. But Silent Hill players, I feel, are very intellectual players, because, like I said, it's left up to interpretation. So it's kind of offensive when they dumb down a story, and I know they dumb it down because they want general audiences to be happy, but they dumbed it down to a point where it wasn't coherent. Like, they jumped from one area to another area, and then all of a sudden it was stop, flashback, stop, backstory, insert, and then continue, so now I don't have to explain this part. Like, it was like that. They just kept going back and forth and back and forth, and it's just chopped it up so bad. And then, like I said, it's kind of offensive when a movie like this comes out, because it was so poorly written, it was so poorly acted. It just seems like they rushed it out. It was a quick cash-in, because, Silent Hill had a few things come out this year, and so that's it. This is 3 Silent Hill games this year, and I felt like they just wanted to cash in on it. Get it done, get it done, get it done. That's what it felt like it was. Hurry up, get it out there, get the 3D in there, let's make some money. That's what it felt like. And it's offensive like that, because now it's a movie like this, people aren't going to be like, I want to play Silent Hill. They're going to be like, I want nothing to do with this shit ever. This is a waste of my time. I was embarrassed. I went in there wearing this shirt. I was so excited. I went in there wearing my fucking Pyramid Head shirt. I was ready to roll, man. I was embarrassed when I came out of the theater, because I was like, I really just want to stop people and, like, shake them as they were leaving the theater and be like, listen, man, if you never played Silent Hill, it's not like this. I promise you it's not like this. I'm sorry. I apologize for this director who did a horrible job, and the writer who did a horrible job, but it was not like this. So, I'm gonna continue, like, not explaining it to you, so let me do it. The CGI was overused. The acting was pretty terrible, save for Malcolm McDowell, who played his part very well, because that was the one part that was true, absolutely true to the game. Because if you play the game, you know who Leonard is. He looked exactly like him. I was very happy with how Leonard came out. Okay, yeah. So CGI, terrible acting. Pyramid Head, and among other things, were thrown in there at just really random times. Like, it kind of felt like when the plot was going down and they were losing you, they would be like, "Oh look, Robbie the Rabbit. Oh look, Pyramid Head. Oh look, Valtiel. Oh look, we're gonna make a reference to." No, they made references to the other games. Be like, "Oh, real quick, we're gonna say a bunch of shit. Let's have a conversation that doesn't make sense. Blah 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 blah. Mary. Blah 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 blah. James." I'm like, "Oh, what's going on here? I gotta pay attention." You know what I mean? So it's like they put hot words in. It's my favorite one. Y'all need a lift? Ooh, I haven't been around here in a while. Name's Travis Grady. Really? But they did have other. They had a lot of Easter eggs in there for the gamers, and I feel like they threw the Easter eggs in there to keep gamers happy. So like they think we're stupid and we're gonna ignore that there was a huge plot hole right here, like a giant plot hole. Like, I don't know where Silent Hill is located, but we need to get there. And then 10 minutes later, they're there. But it's okay because they show off Pendleton and, you know, hey, look, there's Downpour. This is a Downpour reference. Not falling for it. I'm sorry. There was a lot of Easter eggs and they were really cool, but I'm not falling for it. So things were overused. Pyramid Head was used incorrectly. I'll cut it off there. I'm going to say this. For those of you who have experienced being burned by video game movies in the past, you know what you can think of this movie as, and I will say this, put this on record. Mortal Kombat Annihilation. Mortal Kombat, the first Mortal Kombat came out, was a pretty decent video game movie. It was. It was also a pretty decent martial arts movie. And then I did Mortal Kombat Annihilation, where they just took a bunch of things that you knew from the game and threw it in there. It was like, people will think this is cool. Boom! And it was not cool. It was a horrible movie. That's what they did with this. Silent Hill 1, pretty good movie. Then they took Silent Hill Revelations. They said, let's throw a bunch of shit in there. Boom! Let's action it up. Let's have someone flaying skin off another man. Toss that shit in. People are going to love it. Nope. Horrible. Pacing of the movie was bad. Ending was terrible. And that was about it. You feel free to waste your money and see for yourself, though. But I'm telling you guys, man, if you can do it for free or get it cheap, watch it that way. That's about it. I can't tell you not. I mean, I can tell you not to go. I can't make you go or not go. But I'm telling you, as a seasoned Silent Hill vet who liked the first movie, the shit was very disappointing. Very, very disappointing. And now for a couple spoiler ones. You guys want to see Pyramid Head fight another monster in a ring of fire and use his blade in Kung Fu manner? I mean, ninja manner? Go ahead. It sounds sweet. The way I just said it actually sounds pretty sweet, but it's not sweet. It's like that scene in Resident Evil Apocalypse where fucking all of a sudden Nemesis knows Kung Fu, like he's a master at Kung Fu. It was that dumb. They really did a King of Monsters style fight in this. In a ring of fire, no less. The mannequin scene was disappointing, and they took out the one scene that I guess is super iconic in Silent Hill 3. I personally thought it was freaky. They did not put the bathtub scene in there. They did not put the bathtub scene in there. Other than that, locations were in the game. The hospital, you have the amusement park, you know, you have the, did I say hospital? The subway station. You have the mall. You have the Silent Hill church, where the god is born. And then the final thing, there's, I won't tell you what this is because I want it to be a surprise for if you do see the movie. And if you want me to tell you what it is, I'll send a message to you. I literally put my hands over my face and said, don't you fucking dare. Don't you fucking dare do this. And if you guys watch it and you appreciate Silent Hill, you're going to know exactly what I'm talking about, and I can't wait to get your messages back. I can't wait. But yeah. And go see it. I mean, you might enjoy it. It's got a little bit of violence to it, but other than that, there's nothing past violence. There's no substance to this movie whatsoever. And if you like 3, you will be disappointed. That is a guarantee. Thank you guys for watching.